Hello there, welcome back to another fragrance review, and today we are going to review a popular fragrance from a house called as Neesh. Now this is an Indian brand and it's popularly known for its niche perfumery in India, and they're reviving one of their legendary old fragrances called the Milky Way. So in this video today we will figure out what this fragrance smells like, what's the scent profile, and who should consider getting it, and most importantly why it is a comeback of a fragrance or why it's a revival of a popular fragrance from the house of Neesh. Alright, so let's get into this review. Without further ado, you're watching the Perfume Experience. My name is Rodney. Let's get going right after this. All right, welcome back. So first of all, Neesh sent me this, box of fragrances for this particular review to let you know that they're bringing back the Neesh Milky Way. Now, before I actually get into the review itself and talk about the fragrances, I'd actually like to show you a beautiful box that they actually sent. This is the, a PR box that they sent across. It's quite a large box, and at the back it has this beautiful, a black box. But then you will also see this lovely pattern of a Milky Way across, and even on the box as well, you will actually see those elements. Because it's a white background, it's a little difficult to showcase this, but what I liked is because it's a PR box, and I kind of really am thankful that being a reviewer kind of gives you an opportunity to see some things, and this is one of the best presentations that you would come across, right? So clearly in this box you will actually see a card about the perfumer. You will actually see a letter, or rather a certificate from the CEO of Neesh Vivach, talking about why this fragrance is coming back. I'll talk about that as well. You'll see a small letterhead of the Milky Way and its notes, but most importantly, I loved this part of it, which is basically the entire box of 5 to 6 ingredients that are actually used in this fragrance, and they have actually put in small vials to talk about all of those notes. And I absolutely enjoy something like it because it actually looks really good. However, this is just the PR box, and the fragrance itself for you will come in a box which is their typical good old-fashioned niche fragrance boxes that are like this. This is a 100 ml bottle of their popular fragrance called the Milky Way. Okay, now this is the newer presentation, and if you know that if you've been using Neesh from some time, you know that this is how their new bottles look like. Compare them with their older bottles which have this round cap, and this is how the new bottles look like. All right, so you will notice that the juice is dark green in color. In fact, the bottle is actually very green in color with a light texture of yellow at the bottom, but it's the fragrance bottle itself is very good looking. And let's do a quick spray to talk about the atomizer, and it's a pressurized atomizer that does fantastically well in terms of the throw of fragrance. But let's talk about why this is a revival in the first place. Okay, now Milky Way was a very popular fragrance with Neesh. They have had it for a very long time, and it was actually very good. It was one of their first top sellers, which actually came into let's say, for example, they had a lot of fragrances, but then this one just broke apart a lot of their records and actually did a lot well in terms of their numbers. It was a very popular fragrance among people. Now what actually happened was the cardamom oil price and some of the other ingredients actually that they were using in this fragrance actually shot up by about 250 times its price, and basically that made it very difficult to continue this fragrance with the same quality of the ingredients and note, and because of which they actually went ahead to discontinue this fragrance. But a lot of people have been asking to bring it back, this particular fragrance. In fact, they wanted Milky Way to be brought back because it was actually very good. And most importantly, when they were working on this project, or rather when this project was completed, it was actually completed by a perfumer called as Remo de Majere. Okay, now he is the man who was actually behind this, he is the legendary Turkish perfumer who actually created this fragrance, and they wanted to bring this fragrance back as a tribute to the perfumer who created this beautiful fragrance. And he's a man behind a lot of the popular niche fragrances like Kilian and a lot more other brands. He's worked very well, bringing those fragrances to the Dutch market especially, right? So having said all of that, that's one of the reasons why they're bringing this fragrance back, because of the popular demand. But most importantly, they wanted to give the tribute to Remco de Majere. One. Second is bringing it back to all of its glory with the right type of ingredients. That is, there is no change in the formulation. There is no change or a substitute to the existing notes or the components that they were using, especially the cardamom oil. All of that has been maintained to the same way, and now they're bringing it back, right? So this is how the Milky Way kind of is this, or rather this is the story behind why Milky Way is a revival story of a fragrance that's coming back. Okay, now let's talk about the crux of the matter, and that's the scent profile of this fragrance. Now when you spray this on, the first thing that you will immediately get to understand is the note of milk, okay, the lactonic milky note. Okay, now along with that milk you will find a light hint of cardamom. That's the first top note that you kind of get. Okay, although after a few seconds, okay, you do have subtle hints of orange, but that's not very prominent. The milky note along with light hints of cardamom is the first thing that you will notice in the first few seconds of its opening. Give it about 10 minutes time and suddenly you will find a spicy element coming out, and that spiciness is coming from pepper, and that's a very predominant spicy element that you actually notice. You don't notice that spicy element right at the opening. It comes only in about 5-10 minutes time, and then it will remain there about 10 to 15 minutes time, and then it kind of goes away. Now when the spiciness goes away, then it starts to bring back that cardamom note once again. But then now you kind of get a little bit of a smoky resinous elements coming from those balsamic, balsamic raisins, right? So those raisins bring about a slight, hint of smoky element as such. This is also kind of supported a little bit with the light element of tropical vibe that you get, which is coming from a little amount of coconut. Now the coconut and the way the cardamom note with the milk comes together makes it for a very, very beautiful aroma that you kind of get throughout the fragrance. And over a period of time, after the 45 minutes, 50 minutes time, it starts to soften up, and that's where you kind of get a woody element, which is predominantly a sandalwood base that comes across along with a little bit of that coconutty vibe and the milky vibe. And throughout this entire time, there's a subtle hint of spicy cardamom note that's coming across with the milk holding all of these things together. Okay, so it is not a sweet fragrance. It has got a very gourmand vibe to it because of the milky nature to it, because of the cardamom element to it. Overall, it smells absolutely wonderful. Overall, you can kind of say that the way Milky Way kind of smells is a light hint of milk, cardamom, some amount of peppery spiciness coming, some amount of woody elements coming, and light hint of coconut holding it all together. And that's what makes this so very beautiful. Now, from a performance point of view, if you look at this fragrance, this is not a beast mode type of a fragrance at all. This for me is a very average to moderate kind of a performer in terms of projection, because it will do about 1.5 to 2 feet of projection, and that first 45 minutes or so it is kind of very good. You kind of get a good 2 to 2.5 feet of projection all across, and then it starts to soften down, and then again it continues with that cardamom thing. You will get a performance of about 6 to 7 hours time. Now, one thing I've noticed with a lot of the niche fragrances is that when you get them out of the box, they do not perform as great. But over a period of time, when the bottle is well macerated, it kind of settles down for a month or so, it actually projects really, really well, performs really, really good. So this is also one of their long-lasting cardamom fragrances, so to say. But I'm on my skin right now getting about 5 to 6 hours time. On apparel, it is soft, but you will still get about 8 to 9 hours time easily, that you will be able to definitely sniff the fragrance even after about 8 to 9 hours time. Now, one of the nice things that you will also get on this fragrance is this beautiful aroma of a gourmand vibe, which is that very unisex in nature. So men, women, any age group, gender can wear it. It's a kind of a fragrance that brings a lot of personality, brings a lot of charisma to the personality who's wearing it. It is not something which is very loud in projecting, like I said, but the moment you come inside a certain circle or within a certain bubble, you will realize that this is going to smell absolutely gorgeous. All right. Now, one other thing is that you will get a coupon code called as TPE_ the Milky Way. I'll put it up in the description, and you can get a 20% off on this fragrance. This retails to about 8,500 rupees roughly. So with the 20% off, you should comfortably get a pretty good discount and get yourself one of the nicest, niche fragrances that they have, and it's a beautiful comeback of a very popular fragrance called the Milky Way, right? If you kind of like the video, hit the like button, subscribe and share, and I'll see you on another video. Until another time, take care. Bye bye.